Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites. We come out week in and week out, prophesy the downfall of this wicked society and the upliftment of the children of Israel, who are the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, according to the colloquial terms of what they're called today. All right? We want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasharallah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. And we come out here week in and week out to proclaim the prophecies of the Lord, man. Both the redemption of the children of Israel from everywhere they've been scattered and the judgment for this planet, man.
It's Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahawashi. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahawashi is a spirit of prophecy.
And that's what we come out here to bring out, man. We come out here to bring out the prophecies, man. To tell our people who they are, man, contrary to what they've been called and how they've been dealt with in this place, man. That contrary to popular belief, they're not servants, but princes, man. That's why Solomon said, I see servants on horses and princes walking on the earth as servants, man. To proclaim the good news to our people, man.
Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy.
So we're supposed to tell our people what's going to happen in these last days, because our people are the ones who are deemed as vessels of mercy, man. But that's only going to be bestowed upon the remnant, because only a remnant of our people are going to return to their heritage, man. The rest of our people are going to have to die for forsaking their own heritage.
I already told.
Which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahawah, Ba'ashem, and cause them to be written in papers, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee.
Right.
Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee.
And that incredulity goes into disbelief, man. The disbelief of this world is not supposed to trouble our people, man. It's chiefly, I should say, the people of our people who understand the truth, man. The incredulity of the nations, 2/3 of our own people, that's not supposed to shake our foundation, man. And our foundation is the faith in Yahawah, Yahawashi, man. And it's not supposed to shake us, man. So what if some do not believe, man?
It's in Romans chapter 3, verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their belief make the faith of Yahawah without effect? Verse 4, Yahawah forbid. Yea, let Yahawah be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be judged, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged.
So that's why when we speak, we go into the precepts, man. To let you know all of these things are in the scriptures, man. That everything that we're saying on the highways and hedges, we can back up with precept upon precept.
Revelation chapter 22 and verse 19. If any man shall take, you know what? Revelation 22 and starting at 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. If any man shall take away from the words of this book of the prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book.
So if you're saying that all nations can be saved, you're adding unto the word. If you're saying that the Lord has cast away his people, you're taking away from the word. And plagues are going to befall you, man. The majority of these people walking around being simple are going to die, man. That's the reality. That's the book. That's what the Lord has proclaimed. They're not going to burn in a place for eternity. They're going to receive a judgment here, be reincarnated, and receive a judgment of captivity, man. That's why the Lord has set out the prophets as an appointed unto death, man. To clear up all the rumors and the gainsayers, man. to bring out the truth, to present the truth, whether people accept it or not, man. The majority of these people are gonna die, man. They're all walking dead, man. And that's just the reality. And we're supposed to come out here and proclaim that, man.
For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
Right, so it don't matter if they don't believe. Because the punishment is going to be death for that disbelief, man. The Lord said only a remnant of his people are going to return to their heritage, man. Billions of people are not going to receive this message, man. It said wide and broad is the way that leadeth unto destruction, and many go therein, man. But few is the gate, is the straight gate, man. Only a few of the nation of Israel are going to go into the straight gate and receive that salvation, man.
Behold, saith the Lord Yahawah, Bahashim Yahawashai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
So the Lord has an appointed a time for the wicked to have rulership, and now their sins are being heard in heaven, man. And the Lord is preparing the ambushes, man. The Lord is preparing famine. The Lord is preparing sword, pestilence. That's what the followers of Yahawashai, or the one they ignorantly call Jesus, are supposed to be proclaiming. That prophecy and judgment are upon us, man. That the sword draweth nigh, man.
Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood cry unto me, right, and the souls of the just complain continually.
And our complaints are being heard on the highways and hedges, man. All across the globe, you have brothers out here that are standing up for their heritage, man. That are refusing to accept the culture that's been given to us in Babylon, man.
It's Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 1. And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day.
And they use that as an argument to say that the Lord got rid of his people, man, because they continually rebel. But that's why Paul went into the promise was before the law, man. That before the Lord had gave us a law, he had gave a promise to our forefathers. And by people saying that all these other nations can come into that covenant, you're saying that the Lord lied to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Because when he gave Jacob a blessing, he said, people shall serve thee, man. Nations shall bow down and people shall serve thee, man. So you're saying that the Lord changed his mind on that blessing, man, which is God forbid, man. That's a filthy, disgusting lie, man.
Can I read Revelation 22:18 then? Revelation chapter 22, verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the word of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, the Most High shall add unto him the plagues that were written in this book. If any man shall take away from the words of this book of prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city. Now when you read Revelation 20, what is the holy city described as? 12 gates, at each gate an angel, and at each gate had a name of one of the children of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Okay? So there you go, adding on and taking out of this book by saying that everybody can be saved.
It's still probably take hours.
There you go. But according to Revelation, it's prophesied that when John seen the new Jerusalem coming out of heaven, it was the Israelites.
Bring out Isaiah 14, because all of the prophecies, what was that?
New Jerusalem is a literal city.
Coming out of the sky.
How is it a literal city if the new temple is spiritual?
Let's go to it.
Okay, there you go.
Let's go to it.
Revelation chapter 20, starting at verse 1. And starting at verse 10. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from the Most High, having the glory of the Most High. Her light was like unto stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon were the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
Bring that out. Bring that, yeah, bring it out.
Got it? I got a precept. This is Revelations chapter 21. I start at verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Let's break it down.
No, you can continue.
Okay. It said, verse 2, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahawah out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Verse 3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahawah is with men,
Right.
and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahawah himself shall be with them and be their power.
And get lively stones, because there is going to be a physical kingdom of heaven in Jerusalem. But the remnant, the 144 and the elect, are also a representation of holy Jerusalem, man, coming down from heaven. That's why the Lord said the kingdom of heaven is not with observation, because the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
This is John chapter 2. John chapter 2, starting at verse 18. No, I'll read up. John chapter 2, starting at verse 4, verse 12. After this, he went down to Capernaum, and he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahawashi went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and changes of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cord, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changes, the money, and overthrew the tables. And he said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence, make not my father's house a house of merchandise. Verse 17, and his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. Then he answered the Jews and said unto him, what sign showest thou unto us, seeing that thou dost these things? Verse 19, Yahawashi answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Verse 20, then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and thou wilt wear it up in 3 days? Verse 21, but he spake of the temple of his body.
So the temple of the Lord is beginning with the elect, man.
Let me bring this out again.
You got it?
This is back in Revelation chapter 21, verse 3. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahawah is with men, and he dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahawah himself shall be with them and be their power. And Yahawah shall wipe away all their tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
So the city, the holy Jerusalem, the temple of the Lord, the third temple, begins with the elect, man. Bring out 2 Peter's.
2 Peter's, actually 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 5. Ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Yahawah by Yahawashi HaMashiach.
Exactly. So this is a spiritual thing first, man. The Lord is using the elect as a spiritual temple, man. There is going to be a physical Jerusalem. But there's also a twofold with wisdom, man. Because the Lord is building up a spiritual house first, man. It said wisdom begetteth the kingdom, man. So the beginning of the kingdom starts with this wisdom. And once the elect are sealed, they become the physical embodiment of the Lord, man. That's why he said, know ye not that you are the temple of the Lord? That the Lord dwelleth within you, man.
It's Ephesians, it's a precept to what I just read. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 18. For through him we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of power, and are built up the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahawashi HaMashiach himself being the chief cornerstone.
Exactly.
In whom,
no, you got to finish it out.
In whom all the building fitly framed together grow up unto the holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for the habitation of Yahweh through the Spirit.
Exactly. So the men of the nation of Yasha'Allah, the remnant, the remnant make up the spiritual house of the Lord, man. And then there's going to be a physical city. Then you're going to have the physical city with the 12 gates. But it begins with the elect of the nation of Yasha'Allah. Because that's a fulfillment of the Lord's promise, man. Bring it out.
This is Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sign that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
One more time. That's beautiful.
Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
So there again you have Jerusalem being synonymous with the people before a place, man. Which shows you that it's not just a physical place. It's the men and women and children of that nation. Alright? Yerushalayim is a people before it's a place, man. That's why the Lord said the kingdom of heaven suffereth what? Violence, man.
By Jesus Christ, our Lord.
And that's why he said in Revelation what I just said. Get that one, get that precept, and then I got the. That's why I said in Revelation, and Yahweh shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes.
Is he gonna wipe tears away from bricks?
Con.
Is he gonna wipe tears away from the gold, the streets that's paved with gold? Is he gonna wipe tears from the gates?
I got a pre-op.
He gonna wipe the tears of the names of the 12 tribes on the 12 gates? He gonna wipe the tears from their eyes? That show you, man, Christianity today is simple, man. And the people in it are simple as well, man.
I got a beautiful precept. This Isaiah chapter 62, we start at 6. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silent, and give him no rest till he'll establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth.
Now, is that a city or is that a people? Is that a city or is that a people, man? But see, that's why the Lord say he speaks in similitudes and parables and dark sayings. Because it's not meant for everybody to pick this book up and understand what's going on.
But that also contradicts their Christian doctrine. Because how you gonna sit here and believe that someone greater than Solomon was gonna come, but then you're gonna sit here and make a comment saying that that's talking about an actual city? Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Matter of fact, any landmass in the ancient world was named after a person before it was a city. The people make a city. Okay?
Alright, precept. This is Matthew chapter 11, verse 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
How can the kingdom of heaven suffer violence? If the kingdom of heaven in your eyes is a place where the Most High sits and all the angels run around shooting arrows in people's asses so people fall in love. How can the kingdom of heaven suffer in silence? Suffer in violence. You can read that one more time. Somebody please explain to me, why is the Holy Bible saying that the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence? Okay? Why is the kingdom of heaven suffering violence? If the Most High God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, is sitting there.
Ye were the servants of sin. Ye were free from
Matthew chapter 11 verse 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence.
The kingdom of heaven suffereth violence. Because the kingdom of heaven represents Yahshua. And on this side, it represents the elect and the 1/3, man. The 144,000 elect men, women, and children. Okay? That's the kingdom of heaven.
Jesus Christ our Lord.
I gotta preach that. This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 10, verse 9. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came, and he said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given.
Exactly. So this is not given to the entire nation of Israel, man. Let alone the heathens, man. You got the so-called white man picking up the scriptures and trying to act like he's an authority in the scriptures, man. When they use that same book to build this country that they stand on, man, by theft and robbery, man. The Lord requires that which is past, man.
Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 9. Verse 10.
Beautiful. That's for him.
My good news right here.
In the flesh.
That's right.
The motion of sins.
9 through 12. That's for him right there.
Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken. Be not, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath been covered. And that's Jeremiah 14, talking about the gates there of language, man. You know, verse 11. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. Verse 12, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got people that'll pick this book up and read it like a parrot, but that don't mean they understand it, man. That's why he went up to the Ethiopian eunuch and said, Understandeth what thou readest. Reading the book does not mean you understand what you're reading, man. The prophecies have to come to pass, and the Lord has made promises and judgments against nations. All right, one vessel unto mercy and another vessel unto wrath, man. That's not what the angels look like. That's not what God looks like. That's not what he looks like.
It's not San Michael. It's not San Michael.
Which is good.
Oh, right.
Just let you
Let me bring this out first. It's Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
Exactly. So the Lord is using similitudes and dark sayings and parables, man. And these things can only be received with the Lord's blessing and sanction. And a prerequisite for you to receive these understandings is to be of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are the ones, that's the nation that's been called to serve the Lord, man. No Ammonites, no Moabites, no Edomites, no Philistines, no Hamites are going to be able to pick up this book and serve the Lord, man. Because that's not who the Lord chose to serve him, man. You got it, Let me bring it.
Luke chapter 17, verse 20. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of Yahawah should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of Yahawah cometh not without salvation.
Right.
Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there,
right.
For behold, the kingdom of Yahawah is within you.
Exactly. So that shows you that the kingdom of heaven is synonymous with the people too. It's not just the city itself. It's not just the land of Israel itself. It's the people, man. Right now the Lord said a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, man. And that they parted the Lord's land. So how are you going to go through the midst of Israel if Israel's not even in their land, man? How are you going to put a mark on Israel if they're not in their land? How are you going to put a mark on the brick?
What about South Africa? What, the Lemba tribe? You're talking about the Lemba? How does South Africans?
No Africans. Hold up. What? The South Africans, you talking about the people that are native to that land? No, you're an occupier of that land. You guys don't belong there. You guys stole that land. Yeah, walk up the street.
That's why they running you out of there. That's why they running you out of there.
That's why your people are getting killed over there right now.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Walk up the street. Yeah. The Lord called Cain a wanderer and a vagabond, man. The Lord called Cain a fugitive and a vagabond.
Can I say, she sees all so-called black people, right? So she said she want to slip under there. What about, you know, with white people in South Africa? Man, these people are devils, man.
She happy she probably can't slip under this.
And they'll say that with pride, man. They'll say that I'm South African, as if they don't remember the history of how the fuck they got there, man.
Colonizers.
But judgment is on the way, man. The Lord said that He requires that which is past, man. That's why they couldn't do nothing but get up the street.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge?
Right.
And whom shall he make understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drunk with breast.
Right.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people.
To this people, man, that's possessive. Meaning you're not going to be able to pick up the scriptures and read it like a Harry Potter book, man, and understand what's going on. It says here a little and there a little, man. But because this whole concept of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being stupid, unintellectual, animals, and criminals, when we actually stand out here and bring out the truth according to prophecy, according to the Bible, they don't receive it because this is the nation that is despised amongst all nations, man. So when we actually bring out the truth of the scriptures, they reject it, man. But it's all according to prophecy, man. The Lord said, let their table be made a snare unto them. That applies to 2/3 of our people, but it also applies to the other nations as well, man. Because we're telling them that judgment is going to come and the Lord is going to destroy America, man.
Can I bring one thing out? Just because you said that? Isaiah 28 and at verse 8. For all the tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean.
Exactly. This is a disgusting, filthy place, man. And the Lord has said that gross darkness cover the people, but the Lord, the light shall shine on you, man. Which is why when we understand this thing, we are commanded to come out here and stand on the highways and hedges and give it to the people, whether they hear or forbear.
This is Hebrews chapter 5, verse 9. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all that obey him, called of Yahawah and high priest after the order of Melchizedek,
right,
of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing. For when for the times ye ought to be teachers,
right,
ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Yahawah, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat.
Exactly. Because you got people that have picked this book up for 20 years, 18 years, and they're set in their ways and their understanding of the scriptures. That's why it's a blessing to have this understanding and this knowledge, because they're fighting to get into something that the Lord is just not allowing them to get into. We're piping unto them, but they're not dancing, man.
Verse 13, for everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But the strong meat belongeth to them that are full of age, even those who by reason of us use the even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
And I can tell you something, age does not determine your season in this truth, man. There are spirits that's gonna come in and they're gonna be of quick understanding, man.
All men.
There are spirits that's gonna come in this and they're gonna understand it with a quickness, man.
All men.
And that's the Lord's will, man. That's why I said different gifts inside the body. Different men have been appointed different talents in this truth, man. But there's people out here who picked up the scriptures. You got Christians who've been in the so-called church for 18 and 20 years and they don't understand what they read.
They don't know nothing.
They read it and they recite it like a parrot, but they have no understanding, man. The Lord called the remnant of our nation dull of hearing. The blind that can see. The deaf that can hear. Because the Lord had put cast a deep sleep over our entire nation. But He selected a remnant of our people to understand what's going on right now, man. You got it.
This is 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Yahawah, because many false prophets are gone out in the world.
Exactly. And that's why in Isaiah 8 and 20 it says if they speak not according to this gospel, it's because there's no light in them, man. You talking about people who picked this book up for centuries and have completely perverted the doctrine of the Lord, man. You got it.
John chapter 15 and verse 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whosoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, He may give it to you.
Exactly. And the Lord said that He chose you. You didn't choose Him. You don't wake up and say, I choose the Lord, man. The Lord either ordains you or He doesn't, man. He either sanctifies you or He doesn't, man. You can't will yourself into the understanding of the Lord, man. And that's why the scriptures are a discerner of the hearts and intents of man. When you bring these scriptures out, you find out who's who in the spirit, man. Whether they be of the Lord or whether they be of their own rebellious lust, man. That's why I said the heart is wickedly, desperately wicked, man. That's why you have to continue to come out of the scriptures, man.
That's a vain opinion.
This is John chapter 6, verse 44. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day.
So all of these flyers talking about choose the Lord, I choose today the Lord. You don't get to choose the Lord, man. The Lord chooses you, man. The Lord is not a spiritual restaurant where you can just walk in whenever you feel like it and eat. And in this world of convenience, all of these people feel like everything should be at their beck and call. The Lord ain't tailor-made to you. You're supposed to tailor-make yourself to the Lord, man. Come as you are, man. The Lord requires you to be obedient, man.
John chapter 14, verse 6. Yahawah said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come unto the Father but by me.
Exactly. And the Lord ordains who gets to come and who gets to walk that straight path and who doesn't, man. The Lord decides that, man. And the Lord has only chosen one nation of people, man. And that's the children of Israel, man. There's no covenant given to all nations, man. And for you to add that unto the word, destruction is going to be unto you, man. You're going to be one of those that said, Lord, Lord, and you're going to say, I have not known thee, man.
Well, you know what? Let them believe in that God, though. Because that God that they believe in is a liar. He's a lying God, man. Well, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob doesn't lie. And when He says will come to pass. You know, the God of Christianity is a liar, man. And He loves everybody. He loves homosexuality.
Right.
He loves the GMOs. He loves all the shit, the folly of this world. But like I said, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is a sure power, man. That's the power that created the heavens and the earth, man. The power that allowed Yasha Allah to walk on dry ground, man. Through the Red Sea, man. You know?
It's Joel chapter 2, verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your power, and none else. and my people shall never be ashamed.
Get Malachi 3 and 6, man.
That's not happening.
Let's get Malachi 3 and 6, because all the vain talking, all the vain reading of the scriptures without any understanding is not going to take away the faith of the Lord, man. All of the reading of the scriptures and saying whosoever and putting emphasis on whosoever, it's not going to will the Lord to change his mind, man.
Malachi chapter 3 verse 6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed.
So for the sake of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Lord has not changed his mind. He has not cast away his people in which he foreknew, man. Nothing about that is going to change, man.
Judgment, judgment. Beautiful, beautiful. This is Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 16. This day the Lord thy power hath commanded thee to do these statutes and judgments. Thou shalt therefore keep and do them with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Thou hast avouched the Lord this day to be thy power, and to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes, and his commandments, and his judgments, and to hearken unto his voice. And the Lord hath avouched thee this day to be his peculiar people,
right,
as he hath promised thee, and that thou shouldest keep all his commandments, and to make thee high above all nations which he hath made, in praise and in name and in honor. Right. And that thou mayest be an holy people unto the Lord thy power, as he hath spoken.
Exactly. Our people are made to be holy, not service to these devils, man. Our people are made to be holy and above, man. To be an example of righteousness, the vessel of mercy, man. And if the laws is done away with, why is the Lord going to bring put the laws in our inward parts in the second covenant, man?
One quick point I want to bring out, right? It says in verse 18, and the Lord hath avouched thee this day to be his peculiar people. A lot of people don't know what avouch means, so I got the definition. Bring it out, Al.
All right, the definition of avouch.
Say it loud, say it loud.
To declare as a matter of fact, or as thing that can be proved.
As a matter of fact.
A matter of fact.
So it's a matter of fact that that we're his peculiar people. It's a fact.
And that hasn't changed, man. That's why Malachi 3 and 6 says, I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob. That's why it says Malachi 3 and 6 that the Lord changes not, man. Therefore the sons of Jacob are not consumed, man. Because at the end of the day, it's still about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the promise that the Lord made to them, man. You got it.
This is Romans chapter 9, starting at the top. I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren and my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, who pertaineth the adoption, which is the Lord going on the cross. Paul, the Apostle Paul just said that the Lord going on the cross pertains to Israelites, man. And the glory, and the covenants, old and new, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. Verse 5, whose are the fathers, and who concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came.
So the Lord came for the sake of the nation of Israel, man. That's why it says that to whom pertaineth the adoption, man. Our people were casted off, and the Lord is adopting us back into it, man. That's why Paul was given a ministry of what? Reconciliation. You got it.
Whom as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, Yahawah blessed forever, amen. Verse 6 is the point. Not as though the word of the Most High have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. And that's what you Christians can't understand. The Apostle Paul said, not as though the word of the Most High have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. So those Israelites that are not Israel are those Gentiles, man. Those Israelite foreigners. Even though they are of the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they weren't Israel because they weren't in the Israelite state of mind, which is following the laws of the Most High to the best of your ability and keeping the faith that Hamashiach, YAHAWASHI, died on the cross to usher in grace, ultimately to usher in an everlasting salvation, man. Romans 9 and 6, it cuts all of that, man. Just because you come from the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob doesn't mean you're an Israelite you're mentally an Israelite, man, or spiritually an Israelite. Okay? It's just that simple.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18. And all things are of the Most High, who hath reconciled us to himself by Yahawashi Hamashiach, and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation. All right? For you to be reconciled to the Lord, you had to be joined unto him at a foretime, man. For you to be reconciled, you had to be joined unto him at one point in time, man.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 74.
Getting this shit. Hold on, can I get the definition for the word in the Greek?
I was just looking at it.
This is the word for adoption in Romans 9. The word adoption is Greek, is G5205. And the definition is adoption. Adoption of sons. The relationship which the Most High was pleased to establish between himself and the Israelites in preference to all other nations. And that's what these Christians don't do. They don't go into the Latin and the Greek to get that understanding, man. The adoption of sons was talking about the bringing back of the Israelite foreigners, the ones that could receive the ministry, man. The ones that could receive it. You had Israelites who knew they were Israelites that didn't believe on Yahawashi. You had Israelites who didn't know they were Israelites that still didn't believe in Yahawashi. But guess what? You had the Jake in Jerusalem, the Jews that did believe, and you had Israelite foreigners that also believed, man. You know? That converted. That put away what? They were reborn, they were born again. They put away that Greek mindset and came back into this truth. You know?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 74, verse 1. O power, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doth thy anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt.
Anytime you put re before anything, it means again. Again, to happen again. We go into reconciliation. Brother got the definition of that.
This is off the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, reconcile. It says to restore to friendship or harmony.
And what did Amos tell you? Amos 9 and 11, I believe. It says the Lord is going to restore the tabernacle of David, man. He's going to restore that. All of this, the whole ministry of the New Testament is all about the Lord reconciling back with the nation that he chose from the foundation, man. It says this whole narrative was written from the foundation of the earth, right?
So, can I ask you a question then? What does the word redo mean then? What does it mean to redo something? It means to do it again. Redo. How can you redo something that was never done in the first place?
How can you be redeemed? The Lord told the children of Israel that no man will buy you. When you go back into that word, it meant no man will redeem you. But then the Lord said in Isaiah that he's going to send forth the Redeemer, man. And all of the redemption is about the nation of Israel coming back to their heritage, man. Because at the end of the day, what Paul goes into is the promise came before the law, man. No matter how much Jake messed up in the law, the Lord still made a promise before that law was established. You got it, huh?
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 13. Though in thy mercy has led forth the people, which thou hast redeemed, that thou hast guided them in thy strength unto the holy habitation.
Exactly. So the Lord is all about redeeming his people, man. When you go into Isaiah 11, it says that the Lord is going to gather the outcasts of Israel, man. This is about Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and West Indians and Haitians coming back to their true heritage and forsaking this place and the oppressors that gave them the terms black, the term Hispanic, the term Latino.
If I can say this out, there's only one nation on the planet Earth that has more than one covenant. Because even the Christians will agree that the first covenant was given just to the Israelites. Well, if the first covenant was given to the Israelites, that means that, for edification's sake, if the heathens can actually get the second covenant, they still only have one covenant, which is the second one, which will make Romans 9 null and void, because the word covenant has an S, which is plural. There's only one nation of people on this planet that can have more than one covenant, the old and the new. The heathens would only have the new, which is one. So why did Paul say covenants, plural? The old and new only apply to the Israelites. And the new would only apply to the heathen if that doctrine was true. Shit contradicts itself when you really dissect it, man.
I got a quick precept. Acts chapter 1, verse 5. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall baptize with the Holy Ghost not many days hence. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?
It was always about the restoration of the nation that the Lord chose, man. It was always about the Lord fulfilling that promise that he gave Abraham, man. When you really go back to the genesis of all